Can you guys respond to my prompt, please?
I'd like to. So,
Okay.
women are biologically engineered in their 20s for childbirth. In fact, they
I have
bounce.
4 kids.
Hang on. They bounce back. They bounce back very quickly. They don't bounce back as quick in their 30s, and definitely not in their early 40s. They have significant struggles.
It doesn't
In
say when
fact,
it's
Wait
expected.
a second. Who says?
Wait, guys, let's let him finish.
yeah.
Wait, this is the guy from whatever podcast.
So anyway, yeah, they definitely are biologically
Oh, I hate this.
engineered to have children in their 20s, especially their early 20s. They seem to do best there.
Engineered. Okay. Go ahead, Mimi.
Wait, is this Andrew from whatever?
I don't have no idea.
Yes.
This is
Yeah,
this
that's
is
his voice.
this is Rico, baby.
So
Andrew, we love you.
Whatever. You're a
That's how-
disgusting person.
That's how much.
What did I do except engage in the prompt? Did I do something to you personally? Why are you upset
Okay, I have a
immediately?
question.
Can I just engage in the prompt in a good faith discussion or not?
Okay.
Okay.
So you're saying, Rico, that 20s or
Rico's not
very fertile, and then it deteriorates as you get older. Is that
Well, no. There's two prongs to the argument. Attraction is designed around youth, and the reason attraction is designed around youth is because it's maximized fertility. It's maximized fertility because women's bodies are the most resilient to childbirth in their early 20s, and up to their late 20s, about 28, and then it begins to rapidly deteriorate, and so does the attraction level between
again?
men
I
and women.
said, so 20s, you're very fertile, and then it deteriorates.
Stop
Correct.
fucking muting me. The host
Actually,
is
at
trapped.
18, you're very fertile.
That's true too. I agree.
Hang on a second. So, do you know
the host is
when females acquire eggs? Do you know the age of when?
Well, it can
they
be it can be very young.
Do you know when females acquire eggs in their body?
You mean, are you talking about puberty or something different?
I'm saying, when do females acquire eggs?
I don't know when. When do they acquire them?
Anyone want to answer that one?
I want to say around 14 to 16.
Yeah, so around puberty. Yes, okay, that makes sense to me.
So women are born with their eggs. What do you mean?
Yes, females are born.
Yeah, but so what?
I am
They're not.
so glad that
Well, I don't-
Andrew
Hang on, help me out
tell
here.
me
Hang on a
how I
What does this have to do with my point, though?
But hang on, I'm getting to your point.
Okay.
So, females are actually born with eggs, and they have ample amount of eggs.
well, thank God Andrew's here.
They don't start dropping eggs until they start menstruating. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so you said we're resilient. Our bodies will bounce back very quickly in our early 20s.
Yeah,
Sure,
well, not just in
Yeah,
your early
only-
20s, but up till
only-
about
wait,
28.
Only if we are in good condition. Before
Well, but you're
having
more
a
likely to
baby.
be in good condition when you're younger too. That's the
Yeah,
whole
I
point.
mean, yeah, but that's only if you take care
read
of
a
your
book.
body. That's only if you are taking care of your body. So if you were
No,
fat
no, no.
before
Even if you're not taking care of your body, let's say that
If
you
were
hang
fat
on.
before having
Let's
a
say you
child,
had two
you would be
people.
fat after. And also, infertility only increases if she has medical conditions.
That's not true. Infertility generally begins to increase rapidly post 28 years old. Begins to rapidly
is-
deteriorate.
Still not true.
It is true.
It's not true.
No,
It
it's
is.
not.
Yes, it is true.
It is
That is true.
I don't know why you're trying to lie to me. That's
I'm
medical
not trying to
science.
lie.
That's medical science. It's well established. Why do you think that women in their 20s who are the most fertile, do you think that biologically they would be designed to have children later than that when they're at their most fertile in that area? Why?
If she does not prioritize health, then she will have a harder time having children later on.
That's
in
going to be
life.
true of any age, though. That's why that argument makes no sense.
Okay. Do you know also, it also goes with the sperm?
That's true. Men's sperm degrades over time as well. Nobody's disputing
And
that that's true. So men also should be having kids in their 20s. See how that works?
no,
Well, not only that, but that's why age gap is necessary.
and
No, Rico, I
sometimes
Well, I mean, age
the
gap's not
sperm-
necessary, but
Have you not seen the sperm sometimes has different problems and there can't get in the egg?
yes, that happens as well. But again, those fertility issues for men are greatly decreased in their 20s, just like with women. Women's fertilities increase in their 20s, and so is men's. Your body is perfectly wired. Your body is the most perfectly wired for reproduction in your 20s, period. Men and women.
But Rico, you wouldn't factor in the social element. I mean, we know it's just not a biological. We're not animals, right?
Well, what we should
But the
do, well, hang on. Around every other type of biological element that human beings engage in, we tend to tailor socially and society around those biological elements. For instance, deferring your reproductive years for college is foolish. You should go to college after your reproductive years and your reproductive years.
Oh,
That's
so
why,
you-
and hang on. Let me just finish. Let me make the point. Here's why. Right now, we have a birth rate collapse in the United States and in the entirety of the West. Birth rate collapse. Never seen anything like this, especially globally.
Wow.
We're not even at reproduction rates. And the reason for that is because women defer their 20s for college. And by the time they get a career established, they're pretty near 30, which is why you see the marriage rate near 30. And you see the first child being born around 28, 29 years old. And they usually only have one. It creates a major problem. We should actually, if we're gonna take the social elements, we would wire the social elements around human biology like we've always done. We do it with food and oxygen and water. Most
So you're
cities, for
saying-
instance, are built on water for this reason. So I
Yeah, but
don't
the
even
problem-
understand.
saying
But the problem is that today's society of women, they're not mentally equipped to handle, like I mentioned earlier, they're not mentally equipped to handle children. So the women of old could handle 5 to 10, 15 children in a 2-3 bedroom house max, very small dwelling. These women today cannot handle.
They're
that.
equipped. Here's the thing. They're
Hold
equipped
on
to
one
handle them
second.
fine. You
We let
infantilize
we
them.
let you finish. Hold
Okay,
on
that's
one
fair.
second.
Sorry. Go ahead.
We'll let you finish.
Yeah, that's fair. Go ahead.
So a lot of women, even to have one child, want 2,000 square feet, 1,500 plus square feet. That's not how the women of old operated, and they did a much better job at handling their stresses, handling all types of pressures in society, and their pressures were much greater. These women today have way less pressure, way less stress. I would argue, but they just can't handle it. They can't deal with life. They can't deal with their jobs. They can't deal with anything that's going on in the world. They're constantly stressed, but they're all over social media and they cry about this stuff all the time, every day. So they're just not
Whoa.
equipped to handle children.
Yeah, but what you're
I think
doing, what I think you're doing there is you're infantilizing women and giving them a way out of responsibility. The truth is that what's actually going on is that if they can defer, they've been sold this kind of great lie that they can defer childbirth to any age, not realizing that there's tons and tons of tales and science which backs this of women who get into their 30s and begin having significant trouble with reproduction when they wouldn't have in their 20s. And they've been sold a bill of goods. The thing is that there's no sense in infantilizing women. Instead, it's worthwhile to point out that we live in a very anti-natalist society now, and women are sold a huge lie. Sold
There's
a
no
huge
science.
lie.
What? Hang on
There's
a
no
second.
science. Wait, let me say this real quick. There's no science that's going to back women who are emotionally and mentally ill-equipped with having children, even though biologically they can. There's
No.
science
There
that you
is.
can
There is
find.
actually. If
Wait,
you
wait,
apply,
wait,
okay,
wait a minute.
okay, go
Wait a
ahead.
My
minute.
turn.
Wait a
My
minute.
turn.
Hold on, ma'am. I will.
Nope, my
I'm-
turn.
Ma'am, hold on.
No,
he spoke
my
over me while I
turn.
was.
That's true. I did. Just let him finish real
He
quick.
Spoke over me while I
He
was
was
speaking.
speaking.
So if you can find science that says yes, women should still have children, no matter what, no matter how they are emotionally or how they are mentally, whatever they're dealing with in life, their stress and pressure, they should still have children. Please send that to me.
Yeah,
because you're not gonna
that's
find it.
that's a huge straw man and a red herring. So to point this out
not
real
a straw
quick,
man.
the social sciences around additional pressures on people, allowing them to grow into better people, is well established. For instance, men who have families and children tend to make a lot more money than men who don't. That's because the application of social pressure and responsibility makes them grow into that position. That's well established science for both sexes. The fact that you won't refuse to apply the social pressures on women and infantilize them is a major issue. But yes, there is science that backs this, well-established science.
If that was true, then women would do much better in careers that are highly.
They're not
dominated.
wired for long-term
Hold on
careers.
1 second. Hold on 1 second. They would do much better in highly pressured careers that are dominated by men, and they don't. They don't perform well under those highly stressed, highly pressured careers. They
Men
just
and
don't.
men and women,
Sir,
when you have a social pressures, they apply differently to both.
What careers can you name that
They're
women
not
have
wired
taken
for
over?
careers. They are wired for
Okay.
child rearing. Do you understand the distinction?
You just mentioned you mentioned the pressure that women
What
have to
types of
deal with.
social pressure, though? You would be
Okay, so you're
applying
not-
social pressure on women
Sir.
for their specific sex-related activities.
Sir, your job.
Sir,
is a form of
sir, you're
social-
straw manning the shit out of my
your
position.
job
Don't
is
do
a
it.
Form of social pressure. It is.
Yeah, but do you
Rico,
understand
can I
that
ask you a
different
question,
sexes
Rico?
respond to different social pressures differently because they're wired differently?
Can we get pregnant? You let us know.
Can what?
I mean, you all have it figured out, so when can women get pregnant?
It's not a matter of when they can. We're talking about optimals in society.
Let me say this: he doesn't have it figured out because even Caucasian
Yeah,
women
hang
are
on
no
a
longer.
second.
Hold on 1 second. Even Caucasian women are no longer listening to their men. They're not listening to men like this. They're
Now,
doing it their own way, just
when
like all
can
the
I
rest
get
of the
pregnant?
women. All the rest of the women are doing it their own way. So
Oh,
nobody's
I mean,
listening to
y'all
him.
have
either.
it figured out. When
No,
can I get pregnant?
no. But you guys are not going to listen to him or me or any other man.
Exactly.
No,
Preferably
really-
before the age of 30.
Okay.
If you wanted optimal results, generally for most women, pregnancy in the 20s would be optimal. That's not to say you can't get pregnant past that or shouldn't. Nobody would ever make that claim. Only that if you were looking at what was optimal for female reproductive health and for society at whole, you would look at women in their 20s.
Yeah, but
What part of nobody's discouraging you from getting pregnant after 20 are you not getting? What part of this are you not understanding?
Point is, they're not doing well without the children.
Well,
Do you realize
you're
that-
kind of making
do you
his
realize-
point, right? Because you didn't listen to
Hold
a
on
word we
second.
just said.
Hold on 1 second. Do you realize they're on more medications than ever before? They have to deal with depression,
Yep.
Anxiety,
Yep.
all types of mental stresses. They're on these medications more than ever.
Yes. But which hang on. But which demographic of women are not?
Hold on 1 second. With birthing way less children, they're on more of these medications. They're drinking more than ever. They're having more problems than ever before in their mind. But you're saying, oh, if they have the children, they'll just adjust.
Well, the problem with your argument is that we can break women down via demographics. And we see in the demographics where they're having a lot of children younger in heavily religious relationships, their satisfaction happiness ratings are through the roof in comparison to career women. So how do you explain that, sir?
Oh,
Well,
I got
Rico,
you
that's-
on that one.
Yeah, you got nothing. You got nothing because you didn't think it through.
Let me
One
jump
second.
in,
No, they're
bro.
not. The marriage rate is
I don't
way
know
down.
how true that is.
The
because
marriage
It is
rate
true.
rate for
way
Christians-
down.
No, hold on.
Not true.
The divorce rates for Christians and non-Christians are basically the same.
Nope,
So
that's only based on self-ID. If you look at rigorism, meaning people who go to church more often and participate in sacraments, you'll find that their divorce rates are significantly
Yeah,
lower.
but the marriage rate is way down, so you can't even.
Yeah,
throw
but
that in.
but here's what the problem is. Like
The
we
marriage
can
rate is
take
nowhere
data.
near what it was.
We can take data, and what we can do with the data is we can break it down by each demographic and group so that we can extrapolate better data for what's working and what isn't. What we find is that when there's religious rigorism and people having children in their 20s and getting married younger with religious rigorism, their happiness levels are overwhelming in comparison to the rest of the population.
Okay, but
They
that has nothing to
hang
do
on,
with-
hang on.
All
They
right,
say that
wait.
they report better satisfaction levels, less mental illness, less antipsychotic drugs, less depressive drugs. Across the board, they're healthier.